strike two and Andres. So just go where before we were going to random diversion. You were saying you just found Bravo yesterday, and yeah, then I lost it up to that point, I'm afraid. So if you don't mind taking it from the top again, that would be great.
Yeah, I kind of lost it too. But I found your great video in two parts, building a meditation app with Adobe, and I had like a 2-question thing, and I just saw you had this, and this was a great chance to like connect to you guys before signing up, because I'm brand new to this, and I have instantly 2 questions, and that is, first, is this also possible to build with Figma? And 2, what and okay, it's a 3-part. 2, do you have like the file to share, or is it something you have to build from the bottom? And 3, would you recommend Bravo for someone like me who haven't done apps before, but I build websites, lots of websites. This is my first app. That was my 3-part question.
So I mean, I think we could answer that relatively easily. Just quickly forward to the next one, because that's so. First of all, yeah, actually, we work better with Figma than XD. In fact, we started with Figma, we did XD later. And in fact, to be honest, they're all the same now, right? It's all Adobe, so going to be. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. So yeah, Figma's fine. The third part was about do I recommend using it? Yeah, I think really where Bravo works best is people who've got some design skills and some sort of API technical knowledge. That's really the sweet spot for Bravo. So I think you shouldn't have too much of a problem. I think where most people get slowed down is around the APIs, but I think if you've done websites before that, you shouldn't have too much of a challenge with that. So that should be okay. The second part, could you just remind me the second question you had?
Yeah, that was more like the template you actually use is exactly what I had in mind. And I just thought if you have like already built some templates, then yeah.
We do actually, I mean, we have a ton of examples on the website. Under resources, we have a ton of samples of templates. If your one particular one isn't there, then you can let us know. We'll try and dig it out. I mean, we're quite happy with sharing all the templates we've used, because ultimately we just want you to be able to make what you need. So yes, we should be able to get that to you as well.
Okay, and one last follow-up, because then I'm all fine. But you build it in Adobe XD in the YouTube video. You sent this out in July, so it's a pretty new video. And I was just wondering, is it easy to put into Figma too? Because I'd rather use Figma.
It should be. What you may find, I'm not quite sure who made that XD video. It may not have been us. It might be with someone that was working with us. But there's a ton of XD to Figma converters if we don't have a Figma version of that. So okay. I would have a look to see if the examples template's the one you want's there. If not, let us know. We'll try and find it for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next. So I think we've got Federico. Federico, are you on twice, or have you got someone else called Fedi?
That's a good question, actually.
Federico?
Federico and Fed.
Hello? Or Fedi? Fedi, you there? No. Oh, hands up. Oh, does he need to allow him to talk?
Not really. I mean, you should be able to talk, Federico.
Yeah. Federico, can you talk? We saw your hands up. If you'd like to talk, feel free. Or maybe if you can't talk, to maybe try on the chat, see if that works. Okay.
Microphone, yeah.
Microphone. Okay. Well, you can type the question and we can just answer it as we go. If not, what we'll do is we'll jump back to Andrew and see if we can do his login question.
Maybe I can share you a screen if it's allowed here to explaining what the problem is.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that while we're waiting. So Federico, while we wait for you to get your microphone sorted, we're just going to jump back to Andrew. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So I hope you can see my screen.
Yep, that's fine.
Yep. So what was the problem? I'm like working on a PayBask Surf application, and I have this logging when user type email, password, then logging action.
Yep.
And on success, I want like go to the favorite spots page, but it doesn't go. I don't know why. It
Yeah.
goes to the, I mean, it goes, if I do open URL, it works. If I do like show alert, it works on success. If I on purpose do error, it shows the error, but somehow it just stays on the login page when I want to go to the other page. So this is the issue that I'm stuck with.
Javier, do you want to do this one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this a problem of basically, I mean, how this works with the login is that actually, I don't know if it was you or was another person who asked this or mentioned this before.
Yeah, it's me.
I think it was you, yeah. So actually, so there is no way to specify several go-to-page actions in the login page, because after the login, there should always be like navigation to the home page. And the way you create this navigation is actually in Figma or in Adobe XD, because you set flow start point in one of your screens, and this way Bravo knows that that's the home page and you need to navigate there. So what kind of login system are you actually using here? Because each of them has different setups that you need to do like in the same kind of way.
Here, actually, I use the backendless.
Okay, so you're using custom login, right?
Instead of like, yeah, and instead of logging, I do the action submit, and as you can see on here on the backendless, it's, I mean, like submits it last logging, whatever it was, like 20 minutes ago, and I'm trying to redirect to the home page on the Figma file. So I just make this connection to the flow.
Actually, what I would do here is just we have this custom login guide with the setup you need to create both in the design and also like in all the data binding, because there is actually quite a lot of steps you need to follow. So, and if you do it just in the same way, then it should work. If you actually try to do things differently, it's quite likely that it will not.
Yeah, but basically using the standard post form post isn't going to actually make it easy for you. And there's another couple of reasons why. It makes the navigation hard. The advantage of using the proper login structure means that the user ID is available, authentication is available throughout the app, and it kind of does that whole adding the token on automatically for you. So it's much better to use a custom login. It's a couple of steps to set up, but if you do that, and the other thing to bear in mind, which I screwed me up lots of times myself, is you set the home page of the flow. That's the start of flow 1 should be the home page, not the login. Because what happens is when you have the page login tag on the page, Bravo knows to start with a login and then start the flow afterwards. So that's how it knows it automatically figures out the navigation from the login page to the home page, because you mark the home page with that start of the flow. So if you use a custom login and you just have one flow with the home page as on the start of the flow, then all that navigation will sort itself out. And then you'll also have the advantage of having the user ID and user email variables available to you throughout your application.
Okay, so I'll try with backendless, because it's like made with Xano and it's like a little bit different, because on backendless it was like pretty fast and super easy to make it.
You can use backendless. The key thing is just that you have to use the custom login should work with backendless.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't actually know. I haven't actually tried with backendless, but if backendless is using OAuth, you might even be able to use OAuth as well, either as an option. But you should be able to use custom login backendless. You just need to use the steps to it. If you get stuck with it, let us know, and maybe this is a tutorial we need to make for backendless. But don't change the backend. Just try and use the custom login example, but just make it work. Just trying to transform it to work with backend. That should do the job.
Okay, I will try. I will let you know next week.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Okay, Federico, do you talk on now? Can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah, I hope so. Okay, wait a second.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Because I basically have a data binding problem.
Okay.
and I'm gonna try to explain what's my problem here. Okay. All right, so okay. So I'm gonna open my Figma. 1 second. Okay. All right. So my problem is related to detail page, where over here. So this page is already, let's say, detail page of a restaurant, and you can see that, like, here there is my venues list. Like here is there is a displayed a list of restaurant objects. If the user clicks here, then it will open this screen over here that I call a restaurant detail. And over here there are displayed a list of meals, of offers. If the user presses over here, over an offer, it should be prompted to see a detail of that offer. So I made an endpoint specifically for this screen, and this screen basically takes this endpoint takes as input offer ID, and then gives me back the entire offer object. So I can show to you also on my my data binding. So this is, for instance, the request of all restaurants, where in fact I get a list of all restaurants, and then I'm gonna show you the request of all my offers. So this is this request here takes a restaurant as ID and gives back all the offers. Okay, and then now I'm going to show you the request of the offer details. So the one which I have trouble with, that is this one. So in this one, basically, is just taking as input an offer ID and giving me offer object. No, okay, sorry. Wait. Yeah, this is because the auto token expired, but I'm gonna take a new one right now. So let's take a new token. Till now, did you manage to follow me? I mean,
yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, okay, so taking a fresh new token.
Yep.
This token works because here I'm getting back. So, okay, here should work. Okay. Yep. As you can see, if I pass the ID of an offer, I get the body of an entire offer I have selected.
Yeah.
So let's see now if I banded it into the screen. Okay, so Oh, wait, something is missing. Like here, this should be, okay, this one. And here is like this. I banded the image. I banded the offer name. And also, I just also added the offer ID just to have it. Okay, so now, actually, if I try to run this on my prototype, I get an error. I haven't connected my phone, so I can show you right now, but I can make a screenshot of that. Actually, no, you can monitor on my backend response what's the error I'm getting. So, okay, so I'm just gonna tab on that button to see.
Are you getting like any specific error messages, or is it just
yes, I'm getting the error message of you're gonna see right now, because I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay.
My guess is a 500.
No.
No 500. Okay.
No 500. Let me show. Oh, I can share my screen also from my phone, right? Okay, wait a second. Yeah, this is convenient. Let's see. No. No. Oh shit, no. Can I actually phone? No.
Well, I think just seeing the request on Xana would help to start with.
Yeah. True. Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming the offer ID is not coming through, which is
that's probably the issue. Maybe you need to like refresh the history. I don't know. I don't remember how this worked in Xana, but
oh, wait a second. Yeah, because I got another error. Oh, yeah. Now I get.
Yeah, it's this 404 now. Yeah,
not found. Okay. So
yeah, probably. I mean, I'm betting as you can see there, actually, if you see the URL, you are not getting the offer ID that you are using as a variable in Bravo. Yeah. So this will have to do definitely with the binding. So now, I mean, here there is like several things you can do. What I would suggest first is like, first question would be, where are you really getting that offer ID from? So I saw you had like some sort of like another detail page before this one, right? Where
exactly. Yeah, maybe that's the problem. This one is another detail page.
Okay, and so in this detail page, basically the request you bind there will need to have a data kind of a field or data item that has the same name as the variable you use in the other detail page. So the values are passed, because that's how Bravo knows what offer ID to put in the app page and what offer to get. So actually, if you quickly open, we can try to fix it now. If you open the request that you've bound to that previous request.
Yeah. Okay. So is
Isn't it restaurant offer list? Isn't that the one?
Yeah. It's I have this one is the offer list. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, this request is populating only these items, only this list. But to populate the entire page, I'm gonna use restaurant details. So is restaurant something?
I think it's offer list. If offer list is the one that then drives the next one, that's the one we need to look at.
Yeah, you need the one to connect to that screen. Okay, so actually in this request, there should be one of those fields that is the offer ID that you. Actually, it looks it's that one.
is the second
Now
one.
if you go to
I
select the
called it
data.
offer ID.
Oh, okay. Well, I kind of don't see it like if the path is the same, because it's kind of like a kind of
but you can see.
It looks like it, at least. Okay.
Yeah.
So
also because it's the first one below the list.
Yeah.
Like this, yeah.
Where I've seen problems like this before, I mean, look, it looks right, is if you've got offer ID anywhere else in the hierarchy of variables. So if you've got offer ID somewhere else, if you've got that same name anywhere else in a variable that's been selected, that can cause a conflict. And so one thing I've found to be useful is that, so rather than using offer ID, try and make it something very unique, because it avoids collisions. So you could have, like, I don't know, restaurant offer ID or something to make it a bit more different. Otherwise, what tends to happen is when you have a collision, then you get different behaviors happening. So, and it may be anywhere else up in the chain. It may be a previous request had an offer ID, or something else has ended up with an offer ID, and even it could be that it's created the word offer ID without you realizing it somewhere else. So that's the thing you need to be a little bit aware of. Javier, is that, what else could it be, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, then the other thing that I would check is, but I think you already have that, is in Figma that the screens need to be linked. But if you have the button, that should be done, I guess, already.
Yeah. They are. I can show you on prototype. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so it's actually the slider, the one that navigates to that screen, right?
Yeah. You mean I didn't select this element but I did.
Yeah, but I mean that the navigation should happen when the user presses on one of those slider things.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, can you go for a moment to the slider binding, just to make sure that that you've found the kind of the list coming from that restaurant offer thing?
Yes. Okay, so okay.
Yeah, so this looks fine. Can you go like to the data binding of the app screen for a moment?
The data binding of which screen? Sorry.
The screen where you have the slider. So the place where you bind all the data items to the UI elements.
Yeah. Okay. Here.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Okay.
Okay, so this one, yeah. So this one is related to the offer. Yeah. Okay, this is a horizontal slider. So that's why I banded the single item.
Okay. And now can you go to the other detail page?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so if you press, for instance, in the image one, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's offer ID and okay. I mean, something that actually it's something we are about to improve. Like in next few weeks, we are going to release an improved debugger for Bravo Vision, where you can actually see what kind of variables are being passed and which ones not. And hopefully that's helpful. But for now, we need to look for that manually in the product. Okay, so it looks like at least the requests are bound, and so you had like exactly the same spelling in the variables as well, right? Like in the
yeah. That's something I triple checked many times and so on. So
yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, that's okay.
Also because I have a similar thing also going on in the screen itself. I mean, in the same screen, I also have exactly the same request with the time frames. So here I have a time frame list, and then the user can click and then can open what you can call a time frame detail, and this works. And I mean, I'm applying the same principles, so I don't know.
I mean, that if all the variables are properly set up that it looks like it, the only thing that is left is that maybe there is some kind of issue like on our end regarding maybe the slider or something. So I mean, for this, unfortunately, we will need to escalate the issue to our development team, but we can investigate that. I mean, we will just have a deeper look at your project. Maybe there is something we are missing here that is configuration related, and otherwise we will just try to fix that on our end.
Well, one thing worth just trying is try and change the variable name. So just to see if, because just to make sure there's no collision. So try and make it unique. So basically, so in the higher level, in the restaurant offers list, in the selected data, you don't need to, go to selected data, and then where you're saying offer ID, make it something more unique, like restaurant offer ID or something a bit longer, to make sure it doesn't collide with anything else, and then also then change it in the request lower down so they match.
Let's say then menu item, I call it in a different manner. And but now if I want to change this name, I have also to change on the Xano side, because
not really, because that's only a naming you use in Bravo. So actually the one you shouldn't change is the path. That's the one coming from Shana. But
I actually got problems with the back sometimes, but okay. Let's assume you're right. Okay. Menu item. Okay, so I'm gonna call it menu item here. I'm gonna call it menu item here. Sorry, spell. Okay, call it menu item. Menu item.
And then it needs to be in the dollar curly brackets in the URL.
Sorry. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I have menu item here, and over there. So I'm gonna push it again.
It works.
Okay, now it works. Okay.
Well, that should work, but the question is, it work in the app? That's the thing. So if you reload it, resync the app and see if that makes a difference.
So let me see.
In the meantime, I'm just gonna check your design to make sure. I mean, it looks, everything is well set up, but just because sometimes like, you need to like bind it to a specific container. I think it was correctly done, but.
Look, it seems like Oksana says that it's working because it says, you see.
Like I think that was a test request you just did.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a test request. That's not the real one. Yeah. No, it's not working.
No, it's still not passing the variable for some reason.
It's not passing the variable. Something is not being followed through with the slider. That is weird.
Yeah, I mean, for this one, we'll probably need to investigate it.
Yeah. Okay.
But sorry. My question is the problem could be that the request that gives me the list of offers is already taking as variable here restaurant ID. So what I'm trying to say is that maybe like the details request should have the same URL. So of restaurant, it should be like restaurant list /offer, and then I can add the number. But then I can't add a detail on a list with a totally different URL. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, that shouldn't be, I mean, here the problem is that basically, so you have the last detail page, right? The one that you navigate to after the slider. And this one is taking a variable. So at the end, a variable means that there is a value that will change depending on the action a user does. For instance, in the slider, depending on what item they press. And then this variable transforms into actually a number, and that you send it to Shano. And for some reason, that number is not arriving. So that means the binding is not working properly at Bravo end. But actually, the Shano part should be working fine because you were testing them from like with test values, and it was returning the correct data, I'm assuming. So
Right.
So I mean, basically, there is two things that need to be done in order to pass the value. First of them is the variable binding, the thing we just did now. That looks good. So I would say that's working. That should be working fine. And the other thing is the design setup. So that's probably the thing that we will need to spend a bit more time digging into, just to discard any issue on our side, or maybe to identify why it's not working. And then we can probably, that I'm assuming it's more on the design side, because I mean, at least here everything looked good. Unless we're missing like some spelling issue, but I don't think so because we changed it 2 times. So
yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks anyway. So let me know.
I mean, I'm sorry we couldn't like fix it now, but we'll follow up.
Anyway, I have already submitted this request to the support yesterday evening. So yeah.
Perfect. Then we will try to get you back to you soon.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry I couldn't fix that one completely. Has anyone else got any other issues? Otherwise, I think we'll probably wrap it up for now. I guess it's just you, Andrew. You got any questions?
Well, I had issue previously with remote action. So I was doing thing like bookmarking, and for some reason it didn't work as delete. It worked as put, so I can add items to the like list. But when I was trying to delete it, it doesn't work on the back end. But it displayed on the front end that the request is success. But on the back end, it didn't, remove the item.
Okay, so I mean, if there was a success message in Bravo, that means the request you set up there was sent. And the reason why the item was not deleted could actually be, one of the reasons could be that the request is not properly set up in Bravo. And the other problem could be that actually the backend is not properly set up. So there is like, there's 2 parts, Bravo and the backend, that need to be synced in order for it to work. I mean, so maybe what you can do quickly is just, if you want to share your screen, at least we can check the Bravo side of things.
Okay, let's do it. But because actually it was, I can't start sharing screen, we need Federico to stop sharing.
I think you have the option to actually start yours and then it will stop. But yeah, I think, well, he already did that, so now he'll be able to.
So what I was doing, okay, API collection, just a second. I think it was here. Yeah, so I was using backendless for this. And I had like this delete. It doesn't looks good here. For example, here it worked. I probably need to restore it. Let me just a moment. Okay, so I have this. Okay, 1 minute. So user ID, get user favorites. Okay, send. Oh, it doesn't work. Because probably user ID is not the same already. Absolutely. Okay. Here we go. Pedish. Okay. So I have all this like list of spots kind of.
Yep.
And when I let me take just one of the spots. So I take the ID of this spot and remove it like a spot ID. Okay, send. Probably user ID not the same here.
Yeah, looks like the.
Yeah, because I was fighting with this on the beginning of the week and then leave it. Okay, so now send. So yeah, data. It like means it's passed. So this error tag here, it was named error tag here, and we can look here in the relations. Oh, pardon. Users, data browse. So yeah, it's gone on the backend and using the test request from the browser. But when I do this on the front end, I'm clicking the button. Let me open the. It's not this one. Yeah. So when I'm clicking this, so it was like the spot name. When I'm clicking this button, this action remote, it should invoke this delete API call. And it should like send the user ID with the spot ID, in the body. And it should delete because here it works. But when I do this on the front end, let's check the bindings. When I this.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can we just check the list request associated to it? Because basically, if it's not deleted from the app and it's deleted from the test request, it means again that the variables are probably not correctly set up. In this case, it's quite simple thing that just a remote action with the delete button. So if you can open the list request, we can have a look at the names you've indicated for the spot IDs and all that.
Okay, send. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4, but it was previously 5. Let me do it again. So I will add it.
No, it's actually fine. I just wanted to check if the request is properly set up in Bravo. Okay, so you have here that object ID. So if you go to selected data, that should have a name. Basically a name that's what you need to use to assign that value to a variable. Okay, so it's called ID, and in the delete request, is it the same?
Yes. Okay. So it's spot ID, and in the body, it's spot ID.
Okay. Then maybe we can have a look at the design to make sure that the delete is inside the. Actually, if you open the figure, that's where we can check if the. How the container is set up and all that. Okay.
So it's spot list container.
Yep.
We have one container and the list container.
Yep.
And I have this star and spot name. So on this star, I have this action remote thing.
Okay. Yep. Can you open that frame, the one in star? Can you just unfold it? Okay. Okay, it looks good, and also the remote action is being triggered. So then we can go to the screen binding just to make sure that the request is proper.
So I have this spot list populated with favorites with the spot name, and then the remote action. I have this delete. Yeah. And on success, show alert removed. And when I'm pressing, it shows me the removed. But for somehow it doesn't removing it from the backend.
one thing just worth checking. Is there a way of getting a request history like with Xano backendless? Because the one thing, because you're not using the standard login, you're having to propagate user ID right from the login page from a submit. And I'm wondering if it's not the object ID that's a problem, but it's the user ID that's a problem.
True, I forgot about the user ID. That might be the issue then. Probably it's not being sent from Bravo. But I mean, as Toby said, if you have the history backend, if you can check that, then we can make sure that's the issue.
Yeah, because I mean, basically the way that you do, because you're using standard post requests, it doesn't propagate. Like, you can't use user.id. You're using user_ID, and it may be at this point it's not available, possibly. But I don't know if you can get request history in backendless. I can't remember if we can.
I have no idea where to.
Let's see if we can find. Have a look.
Yeah, it's
Configuration, REST console, permissions. No. I have no idea.
probably they have it at some point, but yeah, maybe it's a bit hard to find it now.
Okay, so it can be the issue because I'm not like doing the proper logging with the user, and it's not passing the user ID. Mm-hmm.
That's probably the issue.
I mean, you could test this. I mean, one way of testing this, which might be hard to do now, would be just to do a different request to something like request bin, which will show you exactly what request is being sent. And you can just send that same, rather than sending it to backend, send that same URL and payload to request bin that you set up, and that will let you see what's being sent. And that will tell you if user ID is being sent. If you can't see it from backenders, you might be able to do it by just sending it to a request bin. So I don't know if you know request bin, but what request bin is a service. You sign up and it gives you an endpoint that whatever you send to it, you can see in a console. So you can see exactly what's being sent to that endpoint. And that can help you troubleshoot issues like this when you're not quite sure if you're sending it or not.
Okay. So it's like this request bin.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah, I think, as Javier says, I think the object ID looks right. So my guess would be user ID, because you're not using the standard custom login. If you use custom login, it'll be much more robust in doing something like this, because it propagates the user ID all the way through the application.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest trying to get the login set up right, and that, I mean, in case it still doesn't work, then you can always contact us. But I would say that's
okay. I got you. So start with the login, because I started. Okay, I'll try to test it for 1 week, how it works with this free marine APIs and blah 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 blah. And then I realized, probably user would like to have the favorites and blah 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 because too many spots. And then back to the login, and now the big pain is the login, because rest of this is pretty easy, Yeah, and I'm really happy, guys. I'm really grateful to you for this, soft that you're doing, and this Bravo thing. It's really amazing, 10 years ago, it was just dream, to drag and drop things without typing a lot of text. And now, future is moving so fast. I don't know if you have any on the roadmap, integrating with Web3 things that will work with the cryptocurrencies and all these blockchain things.
I mean, if you so basically we connect with REST APIs. So if there is any REST API that provides this interface to any of those systems, then it should be working. But yeah, that's basically, you need to use a REST API. That's the requirement.
Yeah, so some of the Web3 stuff would work now if it was API based, but I mean, there's a bunch of them with SDKs and stuff. So look, if it's something you particularly want, then I would always put a request in. We have our roadmap where people can submit requests or let us know the things they want us to look at, and we can look at adding it into the roadmap. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
for now.
Thanks for Andrew. And okay, well, so I think we're done. You're done, Javier? Anything else?
No, we're done.
Okay, so we're good. All right, well, thank you, and I'm sorry that was an unusual beginning, but hopefully we answered some questions.
Yeah, we'll try to have it in place for next week.
Exactly.
I already forgot about this. All
right. See you later, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Have a good weekend. Bye.
You too. Bye.